All right, shalom, shalom. As always, want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and elders, a great millstone, the rule to teach well. And much peace, safety, and blessings unto the Lord's elect, whoever they may be that have been scattered throughout the four winds, pushing his truth and sincerity and in diligence. All right, as the brother lawyer from the great millstone, Lake Charles, Louisiana branch, come back again with another lesson through the Spirit and power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And as always, Lord, will this lesson be edifying to the Lord's elect. And just was, early morning meditating upon how those that's not in the spirit of preparing, okay, for what's to come, is ultimately setting themselves up for failure, okay, in the upcoming time, because Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai's wrath is about to be seen, okay, here in the earth, you see. And when he begin to visit this place, he's ultimately going to catch all those off guard, all right? That's not measuring the times. You see, they haven't been preparing. They haven't been calling upon him while he was near. You see, because it's going to come upon a time where, all right, there will be a famine of word, okay? And we can see that brewing up. You see what, a lot of articles and information that's going out. You see that's ultimately centered around so-called hate speech, okay? Them being haters, okay, of the doctrine of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, which shows, that's going to lead to us being, persecuted as well for the name and way sake of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. You see, but remember, the Lord is going to keep us safe. You see, why? Because we're laying down our lives daily, okay, and we're in the spirit of preparation, okay. And you might, or one may ask, well, how do we prepare, all right, for what's to come, all right? And the answer is to cleave to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay, real quick, let me get this. This is the book of Proverbs chapter 18, all right, because it's hey, great power, all right, in the names of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and that's the key tools that we've been given, all right, when we call upon these names in faith, okay. It's the book of Proverbs 18:10. It says, the name of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is a strong tower. The righteous run into it, and it's safe, you see. So this is where we receive our protection from, our comfort. Okay, this is where that hedge, all right, comes from. Through us trusting in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay, and trust is an action. Faith is an action. Okay, and as we're believing, what are we doing? We're ultimately sowing to the Spirit. You see, while many are going to be, and still is right now, sowing to the flesh, they shall reap corruption. Okay, so in the upcoming times, they won't be delivered. All right, they won't have no one, all right, to be there for them. So let's go back to the book of Nahum chapter 1. This is the book of Nahum chapter 1 and verse 6. It says, who can stand before his indignation? And who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him. The Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, you see? And he's a stronghold for the elect, for the remnant, okay? Because we're the ones that's trusting in the names. We're the ones that's, serving Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai in season and out of season, okay? So he's going to be our stronghold. It says in the day of trouble, as it speaks about that in the book of Job. I believe it's Job, the 5th chapter. Matter of fact, let me get it. This is the book of Job, chapter 5. And let me start up right here. Verse 11. It says to set upon high those that be low, all right? That those which mourn may be exalted to safety. We're going to be exalted to a safety. Okay, we're going to be lifted up, all right, in the upcoming times, as it speaks about that in the book of Isaiah, where come thou in thy chambers, you see, till the indignation pass. Okay, going into us being delivered by way of the fathership, the chariot, you see, if we're of the elect, Lord willing, we be of that precious number, but we're ultimately striving for this truth until death. Okay, We're given that diligence to make our calling and election sure. You see, so that what? In the end, we can be exalted to safety. Okay, because the only way to overcome, all right, and get through what's coming is through Yahweh Shai. Okay, verse 12. He disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. They meet thee with darkness in the daytime, and grope in the noonday as in the night. But he saveth the poor from the sword, you see, and from the hand of the mighty. So the poor had hope. Yeah, there you go. You see, the poor had hope. Us, the lowly, the needy. Okay, we have hope. It says, and iniquity stoppeth her mouth. I want to get a quick one going into that as well. All right. Because the reason that we have hope is ultimately through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay. So he can show his power that he's with the lowly. Okay, this is the book of Romans chapter 8 and verse 20. It says, for the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who has subjected the same in hope. You see? So we were created, okay? We were all given our portions of fate. We were all, set up in our lot, okay? So that we could have hope in Yahweh Ba'ashem and Yahweh Shai. And now the times that we're in, what do? We apply these scriptures, okay? And ultimately meditate upon the acts of old. This is the book of Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. It says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. You see? And the Lord is allowing us to tap back into what that ancient faith that we had. High level faith is being required of us in the times that we're in. All right, afflictions are brewing up, a more fire, is coming, you see? And it's ultimately getting us ready for, that evil day, okay? This is Romans 15:4 in the NLT. It says, such things were written in the scriptures long ago to teach us. And the scriptures give us hope. Yep, because when we look at the accounts of old and what the men of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai was dealing with, in today's time, if you would look at, somebody going through that, being thrown in the fire, being, whatever the case may be, being in the land, in the lion's den, you see, thrown in prison, you see, and we look at the way that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, all right, came through and made a great way to escape. You see, the average mind here in Babylon the Great would be like, man, that's not, there's no way that took place like that, right? Through lack of faith. But us having the faith, we know that what? All things are possible for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay? And what does that do? It gives us hope, because we received the gift of faith. All right? And faith is beautiful, all right? Because, man, everybody truly don't have that faith. All right, and what proves it is just look at there are believers and there are, non-believers. These people are bugged out, okay? It says, and the scriptures gives us hope and encouragement as we wait patiently for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's promises to be fulfilled. You see? Having that full assurance until the end. Let me get that. See, we hoping to the end. This is the book of Hebrews chapter 6 and verse 11. Matter of fact, I'm going to go up. Verse 10, it says, for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have ministered toward his name, in that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister. See, the Lord ain't going to forget, you see, which he already know because he set everything up, you see. So in the times of trouble, when we call on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, guess what? Our works are going to be remembered. You see, our charity is going to be remembered. You see, our supplications, everything that we do in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, it's going to be remembered. All right. You have an input so you can receive what? Earnest expectation of the outcome. You see? That's why I told us that in the book of Jeremiah 29:11. I know my thoughts toward you are not of evil or in destruction, but of peace. You see, to give you what an expected end. And our expected end is to be delivered. You see? So we'll continue and to trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Verse 11, it says, and we desire that every one of you do shew the same diligence to the full assurance of hope. You see? The full assurance of hope unto the end. I'm going to read this in the NLT. It says, our great desire is that you will keep on loving others as long as life lasts. You see? Showing that diligence, because how do you love? You do the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. The Lord said, what if ye love me, feed my sheep? You see? That's how you show forth that love. Okay? It says, in order to make certain that what you hope for will come true. You know, and what are we hoping for? We're hoping to be delivered. You see? If we desire to be delivered, the Lord say, what? Hey, why call ye me Lord, Lord, and ye do not what I say? So we got to ultimately be found to be delighted, all right, to do the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And that's really push this truth, okay? That's us pushing this truth. Real quick, let me go back to Job 5, all right? And this is the book of Job, chapter 5. And let me see, verse 19. It says, he shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. You see? And what? In 7 going into what? Completion, all right, which is ultimately the last thing that's going to take place is what? When the missiles hit, all right? When the missiles hit here, they won't touch us, okay? Because what? Yahweh Shai is going to be there to redeem us, all right, to deliver us. Verse 20, it says, in famine he shall redeem thee from death. All right, we're going to be fed. Okay, we're going to be fed greatly, you see, so that we can be sustained. Well, the scriptures say, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. It says, and in war from the power of the sword, many are going to perish, you see, in the upcoming times. Many are going to perish in the upcoming times. You see? But the Lord is going to make he going to show his power, you know. He going to show his power in how much he's with us. Verse 21, thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of the destruction when it coming. And that shows too that, man, the Lord going to have his spirit upon us, you know. We're going to have high level faith. It say, well, we're not going to be afraid of destruction when it coming. And I keep in mind, we're the ones that have been prophesying. You see? So when it coming, we're going to be in a spirit of rejoicing. You know, we're going to be able to acknowledge that this is the end. You see? Verse 22, at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beast of the earth. For thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beast of the field shall be at peace with thee. You see? And thou shalt know that thy tabernacle shall be in peace, and thy and thou shalt visit thy habitation and shalt not sin. You see? So this is what we have to ultimately look forward to. You see? If what we continue to keep our hand up on the plow, you know, we continue to keep the faith, you know. And in order to keep the faith, hey man, we've been put in situations to where only Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai can deliver us up out of it. You see? Day by day, there's daily trials, you know. But we're not found drowning in them, you know. But more so climbing out of it, you see, through faith. Putting trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, so pursuing to what's to come, as we just read in the book of Nahum, the 1st chapter. Okay. It's stated, I'll read it again, Nahum 1:6, who can stand before his indignation? And who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him. The Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is good. And what King David say, taste and see how good the Lord is. All right. He gonna show that amongst the remnant how good he is. It says a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knoweth them that trust in him. You see that? He knoweth us. He knoweth the elect. He know the remnant that trust in him. Okay. The scripture said in the book of Wisdom of Solomon, they that put their trust in him shall understand the truth. You see? When you understand the truth, you be comforted. All right? You're going to be found to be greatly comforted because we know what's to come while everyone else is in the darkness. You see? Verse 8, it says, but with an overrunning flood, he will make an utterance. He will make an utter end of the place thereof. You see, and that's talking about here in Babylon the Great. He going to make an utter end. Okay? Thereof, it says, and darkness shall pursue his enemies. You see? Just to go into that, how the Lord going to make an utterance. All right? I mean, there's going to be bodies everywhere. It's going to be blood everywhere. Hey, man, what's coming ain't what people looking for. Okay? You got to know the Lord is grieved at what's taking place here in Babylon the Great. All right? Due to the wicked rulership. All right? This is the book of Amos chapter 9 and verse 8. Everything here is greatly polluted. All right? So in the eyes of the Lord, he ready to give Yahushua, the order to come in and put an end to this. You see? So this is Amos 9 and 8. It says, behold, the eyes of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua are upon a sinful kingdom. Okay? And what's the wages of sin? Death. Okay? We talk about that in the book of Genesis, the 6th chapter. This is the whole reason why the flood came. You see? With the water. Because wickedness had exceedingly polluted the earth. All right? And here you have it. This is the last time the earth will be destroyed, all right, and polluted with wickedness. So now the present world that we're in right now is reserved unto fire. All right? And that fire is soon to come. All right? Very, very, shortly, especially once they mandate the MOTB. Okay? But Amos 9 and 8 reads, behold, the eyes of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua upon a sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob. See, so everybody outside of that, everybody outside of the remnant, you see, is going to perish here. You see, it ain't going to be one soul left here to build it up or nothing. They're going to be gone. How you say gone with the wind. And the wind is talking about a destruction. All right. I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, said the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. You see? I'll just read through this. Verse 9, it says, for lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as a corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. You see? Not even the least grain gonna fall upon the earth. Verse 10, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. That means all of the elect is gonna be delivered. You see, all those of the household of faith. All right, that's at Bayat Dawadah, right? The house of David is gonna be delivered. Verse 10, 2/3, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. You see. But remember, we're going to be able to endure through the fire. Okay? Pursuing to Zechariah 13 and 8, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but I will bring the third part through the fire. The Lord didn't say that he was going to leave us there. Nah, he said he's going to bring us through it. You see? In order to go through the fire, right, we have to endure this straight gate that we've entered. Okay, as it speaks about that in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 7th chapter. All right, it's not an easy walk at all. It says, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. You see? I'm going to read this in the NLT. It says, but all the sinners will die by the sword, all those who say nothing bad will happen to us. You see, and that's the mindset of Jake. That ain't gonna happen. Nothing bad gonna happen to us. You see, y'all been saying this was gonna happen. Nothing happened yet. You know, y'all just need to live y'all life. We all live once. You see, that's the talk of pride. All right, and not acknowledging that the Lord is about to return, and you can see it. Clearly. You see, you can see it clearly. All right. If you have the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahshua upon you, all right, and you're understanding that we're living in high level times of prophecy being fulfilled, okay? So yeah, and only the elect are going to be able to withstand, that evil day through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahshua, all right, not according to our own will, or none of that, but who the Lord going to have stand, you see? So with that, as always, Lord will, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash, the ones to the apostles, the bishops, and elders, great millstone that rule to teach well, and much peace, safety, and blessings unto the Lord's elect, whoever they may be that have been scattered throughout the four winds, pushing his truth and sincerity and in diligence till next time. Shalom.